Hello, hello.
Hello. Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Oh yeah, there you go. Hello. How's it going?
Nice. Yeah, it's going fine. It's going fine. How about you?
I'm good. I'm just
Yeah, I've seen
oh
you
man,
having a lot of fun there.
dude. Yeah, it's a good time, man. Uh
I just gotta make you a little bit lower in voice. Just a second.
yeah, on the stream.
No. On the call, like
Oh,
somehow 100% is like way too much for my ears, but it's fine now. We're good.
it's it's better that you have sensitive ears. That means you haven't lost any hearing. Uh
The
so
last glimpse of hope.
yeah. Would you like to introduce yourself and talk about how you got into this madness of 3D and what you're trying to do?
Yeah, sure. So, you can call me Kizzle, by the way. I mean, Kai's fine, but Kizzle's just what I'm
Kizzle the
called by.
Swizzle.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
exactly that. Like, yeah. Um, so I'm a material artist at Gentleman Studios. You might know this. Yeah, you might know the studio since Sebastian, the
Yep.
guy that had like his review. Yeah. He's like he joined us recently. Um, I got into game arts like let's say recently actually. So I started with the age of 14, like making textures and mods for Call of Duty and stuff like this.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, like I just finished my degree, what's called like my bachelor's degree, like in 2019. And since that, I was pretty bad at games or stuff overall. Yeah, and then just decided like I want to get sick at materials, so I started digging materials, and here we are.
Dude. Yeah, I had to click on that because Melissa's in chat. Some fungus for you, Melissa. Uh dude, that's 14, huh?
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah, like I mean, what's pretty basic stuff like opening up Photoshop, like I don't know, just scratching shit all over just to make
yeah.
something appear
Yeah.
in game.
Man, I think I started 3DS Max when it was just 3DS off of a CD and you had to run it through DOS. Like this was
Oh
pre like
shit.
start bar. And so I know where you're coming from. I think I was
Yeah.
making websites about Dragon Ball Z through GeoCities and Photoshop. That's how I learned how to do Photoshop,
Wow.
is wanting to make websites.
Manual it the hard way.
Yeah, it's brutal. Um, but yeah, dude, you have a ton of materials in here.
Yeah, so like if that's fine for you, we can head under the materials tab up there since I got some other stuff in my portfolio that I'm like that just put there since I felt it was good, but I'm actually
Mm.
full into materials.
Yeah, so you're just
Um
diving deep into materials then.
yeah, sure. That's my focus here for the review, if that's fine for you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally.
All right.
I mean, I'm looking at all this and it's, dude, I'm like immediately gravitating towards this snowflake because like I don't think I've ever seen anyone do this before.
Yeah, so I gotta admit, like the prompts from November really made the most of the creative lifting for me. Like it
Mm-hmm.
said, make something with snowflake. I don't even know what the prompt was actually. Uh, yeah, so it was easy to figure what to do actually, and this is where most of the materials I got in my portfolio come from.
Mm-hmm.
Um, since I mean November was about just you got 1 day max and you publish it and that's
Now
it
you're
and
like,
you
let's
gotta take
go.
what you get.
Yeah, I mean, these materials are, it's a great way to like exercise your brain and just kind of think outside the box. You're like, oh man, I would have never thought to make that. And it's like, okay, well, how do I approach that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, these are all pretty cool. The some of the stuff that's sticking out to me is like, probably doesn't need to be in here. Is like the crumpled paper
Yeah.
and the candy, the M and M's. But but I think the M and M's one is because there's no displacement on it, or it's like
it,
really flat. Oh, it is.
it's
It is
barely.
displaced. Yeah.
Yeah, so the story about this one was that I was going crazy for some materials for some reason. I didn't know why. And I started this prompt doing a whole candy machine with this posable bolts and stuff like this, and I got it to work, and it's like I spent so much time on this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And when I rendered it, it just looked like shit. Like I don't know what happened. It
Yeah.
looked great in Designer, but I didn't make it. So I had to rush something, and I just went for anything to post it. So yeah,
Yeah,
and
I imagine it's just the range. Like, man, I'm not a designer nerd or anything, but Ben's in chat, Ben Wilson. But I think it
yeah,
has to do with the how like the height map gets compressed the more range you add into it, and you're not allowing the M&Ms to have their space. So like you're layering so many M&Ms into physical space, but it's just like there's not that much room in 0 to 1.
yeah, exactly. Like I fully need to admit that this one is probably one of the weakest, but I just keep it in there as I'm not too worried about how like my portfolio is presenting towards people that come across this, since I think I have, like, without being like bragging about it, I think I have enough stuff that's sticking out. But since it was part of the November challenge, I just want to have it around there to
Yeah, it's
complete it.
like you have to. This was one of the occasions where I say revisiting it
Yeah.
and updating the thumbnail, and then put like at the top I would just say like old version revisited, and just put a date below both of them. That way you don't lose the day 2 version if you wanted to keep it, because I totally understand why you would keep it.
Yeah, true.
Oh yeah, Ben says he thinks the fact that none are tilted or settled from gravity makes it feel off. So they're like all evenly laying on top of each other, when in some cases you'll have ones where you see literally just the side of one. So that's a
Yeah.
pretty good point. This is almost like seeing a bunch of buttons, you know, that you'd put on like backpacks, and yeah. Anyways, yeah. Yeah, I think as you go further down, it does break down a bit. There are some nice stuff down here, but
That's
yeah.
mostly like the last one here. Just down there, we got a bit of delay in the stream, but the very last one actually is from the November challenge, which is quite updated. But the rest at the bottom is pretty old in
Was
comparison.
this day 7? That one?
Yeah, print, yeah. That's like I just reordered the portfolio just before the review, as I felt like it's completely all over the place, and I
Yeah.
somehow missed that one, I think.
I mean, dude, it's crazy because like from this view, you're like, oh yeah, dude, cool. And then you go to this side view, and I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Oh, so Kaza in chat says you could put all of them in a November post. Uh, yeah, November post. Then you can have it all, have one for each year. That's a good point. So I think if you decide to do November again, which it
Yeah,
looks like,
true.
I mean, have you done it
Oh,
twice?
I did it actually. I just like you mean in the portfolio tab at the top, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
you?
No, I got a November tab actually. I
Oh, you.
just noticed.
Oh man, you know the reality is I almost never look here. I don't know why, and if I do, it's just to find the word all.
Yeah, sure. I feel you there.
Let's see what else we got in here, because I mean the materials look pretty cool. Let's see if I go materials. Some of the like the Flower Meadows one is quite impressive. I guess this is Speed Tree, Mega Scans, and Blender. So this is
It's a hybrid actually.
yeah.
I went for something different, and then I figured like my portfolio is full of materials, but actually I'm like really digging into speed tree and foliage for some years now, but I never
Mm.
shared anything just for production. And I
Oh
just had this idea and was like, yeah, why not?
yeah. No, it's super cool. I mean, I this is one of the things that I'm always kind of curious about, is like you see materials, and Ben's in chat, so we'll see if he agrees or not. But you see materials on spheres, and I don't mind that. I think that's fine. But I think whenever you can, and maybe it's a matter of like having a final version at the very bottom. So like say this is just like a Meadows material made in Substance Designer. But then when you scroll to the very bottom, you have the here's what it would look like with like assets spawned on it, right? Or
Yeah.
like plants and foliage and stuff trying to not only support the material but assist in like the overall look. And that's where it's like when you see the snowy windswept rocks, like this one's really cool as well, but I feel like it's missing something. And I
Yeah.
wonder if it's missing something because I just looked at the Flower Meadow post, or if it's missing something because the material is missing something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
Like
Um,
like maybe
that's a
smaller rocks or
topic.
something.
Sorry, what?
I was just gonna say like maybe if there was a few like medium and smaller rocks on here
Yeah.
that had snow on
No,
them
yeah,
as
yeah.
well, it would kind of like tell the story of like what we're looking at.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's like I have to feel that was something a topic that I wanted to like discuss with you if you got time for
Mm,
that. Um, like I have these phases where I like to rush assets or materials, you could say. So I like to finish them within a day or two and then just move on.
mm-hmm.
And sometimes, like for the basalt columns here, for example, I feel like I really nailed something and I got that what I went for. And for other materials, I feel like I have no chance to make that pop like I would to. Like I don't know what's missing, but it's definitely missing something. And I get bored from it and angry at it, and so I just stop working on it and publish it.
You're like, all right, that one's done. It's been a day or two.
Yeah,
Next one.
exactly. And yeah, I don't know. I think that's something where my, so to say, skill is capping. Like I feel with something where I get to this point where I'm happy with the result, I don't know where to exceed from that. Like that's my limit, and I post it, and I feel good about it. And 1 week later,
Mm,
revisit it, think about it, and we're like, yeah, that could have done like more detail here and there, but I have no idea how to get it in there.
right. Yeah. I mean, I think on that topic, it's like, and again, Ben might chime in, but I feel like when it comes to materials, there's there's more elements than just the material itself that make the material, and that's like this basalt columns, for example. There are like little lichen spots on there, and so you've definitely been looking at reference. It does break down when you see the stretching on the side, but
Yeah.
it's like okay, what what could be missing from this that would help like push it just that much further. So if the stretching was gone, I think the next thing would be like looking at the macro image of a bunch of basalt columns and seeing where the details vary in like the larger scale, and it's then introducing those elements, like maybe there's a layer inside of the rock that, see, I don't know because I haven't looked at basalt in ages, but like maybe there's that layer where you can see a different type of age in the rock. Let's
Yeah,
see if I
okay, yeah,
can,
yeah, I see
because you
that.
see a little bit of it in your albedo where it's lighter and darker, but there's usually like it's not just if you're looking at if someone's making mud material, it doesn't look right if it's just mud, right? But then you add a twig or two, and
Oh
then
yeah, yeah.
maybe a few rocks or some like footprints in the mud, and instantly it's all of a sudden like turned up that much more.
Yeah, that's like the compositing in the material itself already.
Yeah, all those like little micro things that help sell. Like if you do cobblestone roads, if there's not like a cigarette butt between one of the cobblestones or like little twigs that have kind of found their way between the cobble and or where the dirt has built up and is kind of filled in those gaps and is maybe even wearing itself down on top of the cobble itself in some spots. That's like that detail.
Yeah.
Oh, Ben. Okay, Ben in chat says, especially if you're already playing with making foliage assets, doing a small 20 by 20 meter tile or something containing an ecosystem or biome, some materials plus assets working
Oh
together.
yeah, sure.
That's a huge boost. So he says it's a huge boost to your portfolio, and I would totally agree, because then you're showing it in use, right?
Yeah, right. So like I had a talk with a friend today about portfolio as she's starting to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And like I was like preaching to her, like if you do materials, try to get in some render at least one where you compose this material to an actual asset or like texture rock or something with that. Since this is really what brings it to life, but I like it's such a bad example since I actually never did it.
Well, it's weird because like I can feedback on materials and kind of get a feeling for what looks right, but if you gave me Substance Designer, I can't do what you're doing right now. Like I would need to sit there and relearn how to do any of this. Ben in chat's also saying the noise and the cracks overlaid over the various forms is letting this one down a bit. So it's like how those cracks connect to each other.
Oh yeah,
I guess
okay.
so it's more of like the logic of like, okay, if that cracked there, why would it continue on the other rock, right? It would usually
Honestly, I didn't even notice till now. Like
yeah.
looking
You're
now
like,
at
oh
this
no.
picture, it looks so tiling obvious.
I mean, the
Right.
thumbnail looks freaking spicy, man. And then you go in here and you're like, yeah, it looks pretty good. I think it's just the view, like you built it for the sphere.
Yeah,
That's I
that's
think
true.
where, because like when you see it flat, it doesn't necessarily speak the same.
That's true, yeah.
And then I guess the roughness also is a little strange. This is a roughness, right?
Yeah.
Because it's where it's rough. Like usually those crevices are going to have the same type of roughness value as the rest because it's the same material, right? And the reason you're making it lighter like that is because you don't want it to have the reflectivity if light goes around it. It shouldn't
Yeah.
look as shiny as like say this darker area. And how you correct that is your ambient occlusion. Like if you're rendering, I don't know what you were rendering this in. This is Marmoset. Okay.
Yeah, that's Marmoset.
I don't know if Marmoset uses its ambient occlusion the same way, but ambient occlusion can actually mask out the roughness or the
Oh, does
reflectivity.
it?
So if it's pretty occluded, it should be pretty dark anyways.
Yeah, okay. Now you got
Yeah.
a point there. You got
So
a point there.
I think you'd be all right if the values were similar in here. But understanding like what you would expect the roughness to be looking like the lichen on here is probably going to be. My gut is saying that it would probably be rougher than the stone, but stone is pretty rough, so I'm not sure if it'd be rougher just because it's more. There's so much more going on it that it's diffusing
Yeah.
on the surface. So then the lichen would be lighter, and then the stone for the most part is going to be pretty similar, and it's where maybe if you were to, oh my god, this is crazy, if you were to, if you were to put like the bottom third of the sphere and just create water in the material, that is a really
Yeah.
cool way of presenting it, right? Because then you could have like
Yeah.
a water, and then you could have the water line where the rock is wet, because then you're showing like the
Yeah,
porosity
that's true.
values of the rock, and then what it looks like when it's underwater. If you can see that much, you wouldn't see that much. I think it's just to explain the wetness, the water line.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah.
mean, it would give a lot of more space for actual readability and details if
Mm-hmm.
I had that there. So I can see that. I feel like this would be heavy to achieve, but I think you're right there.
I mean, it might even be just making that water line in the rock and breaking up the roughness with it being wet, and then the
Yeah.
water that I'm talking about, don't do that in the material. Maybe you can just float that in the in 3D.
Yeah, well,
It's
true, true.
submerge half of the sphere in a sphere, like a half sphere of water. Okay,
Yeah,
Ben
you're
saying
right.
Ben's saying he thinks you could take another take on the albedo too if you were to remove the curvature in your current albedo. Here, let's go back to it. We're really focusing on this.
Yeah, I
this
mean,
asset.
no worries, no worries.
So if you were to remove the curvature in your current albedo, you would not be able to read the forms. You want to have your albedo such that you can understand the shapes and volumes through the color value alone, without curvature or AO overlays.
That's true. Like, I've had like something similar in mind as we were looking at this before at the breakdown, as I felt like my colors are good at all, but they're not conforming the shape as they should probably. And I like to have this curvature and AO layer at the end of my color to always like give this a bit of emphasis. I mean, it's like a stylized way to do it, but I've needed to do this a lot in production as we need to work so limited that you need to enhance details somehow.
Yeah.
So I did the trick and it looked good, and I just, yeah, like I said, I moved on. But
Yeah,
you're right,
yeah.
and there's a lot more to do actually.
Is there another material you want to look a little closer at?
Maybe the Game Boy, even though it's like, I mean, it has nothing much to do with production, but I feel like this is probably my best piece.
Yeah, when it comes to materials.
Yeah.
Oh man, just
like,
seeing
honestly,
these colors brings
way
it
more
back.
easier. That's true.
I mean, I guess the A and the B is the thing that sticks out for me.
Yeah,
it's like feeling a
up.
little strange. Are they actually offset like that on the real?
They're a bit offset, but not that much.
Oh, that is super interesting. I never noticed that before. I guess maybe because it's not that much.
No, it's a tiny bit. I modeled this with a Game Boy mask behind it, and I got this OCD from why the fuck is that not centered? But I moved it too much to the left.
Dude, you have that light in the power? Dude, that's like spot on. I don't know how many times I've looked at that dot. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, this does look pretty good, and when you have the light rolling around it, you can see the bevels in it. The little holes for the speaker in the bottom right look like they have all of that gunky crap that you can never get out of the holes, no matter how many toothpicks you use.
Yeah.
The scratches on the glass feel like they might be a little small.
Yeah, might be.
Ben thinks you need more dirt in the little holes.
Yeah, no, it true. Like totally right there. Again, this happened in one day. Like, it's a November prompt, and I felt like I need to finish it somehow. I spent so much time on it, but yeah, like I'm missing a lot on those details, and like just talking about it now makes it so clear and obvious that
I mean, that's what's so great about just, it's kind of like it's why you ask for feedback, right? Is because things can be pretty obvious, but you get so like zoned in, and then when you back up, maybe you won't even see it, but then someone points it out and now it's clear as day and you can't ignore it.
Yeah, exactly. Man, it's good that Ben is in chat here. Like,
he's an active one, man.
He spends not just a minute on this piece, and he's like, "Yeah, exactly, that is missing," and he's right.
He's pretty hardcore. Oh, these are always cool when I see the breakdowns of the shapes.
Oh yeah, it's actually the first time I did that. I've seen it on other portfolios, and I was like, man, I gotta step up my game and just doing that as well.
How do you even go about grabbing all of that stuff? Like
how I got all those frames, you mean?
Are you just double clicking each one and then outputting the little viewer and then sequencing it?
So I gotta say I got over 100 in total, and yeah, I clicked them all by hand.
I mean, it looks like, yeah, that's hardcore, man.
I was halfway done until I figured like I could probably automate this through Substance Player, but yeah.
Oh my god, you're right.
I lost my motivation to try that.
Well, it must have been past the 2-day mark, right? And you're like, no, I'm done.
No, it actually really did this in I don't know, like I started at 8.
Yeah.
And I know I think I stopped at 5 maximum. If there's any prompt that goes further, I just stop and take it. But I
Dude,
but
that's
I
crazy.
was filled up at the end. Like I really wanted to have this
Yeah.
done already.
Okay, so I think when I look at your materials, there's a lot of variety in here, and I guess you can thank a bit of the November, right? Ben, oh yeah, just FYI, Ben really likes the screen detail, the
Oh
detail of the
yeah.
screen, which I think is like the little the the pixels, like
Yeah, this
you can see them.
yeah.
I don't know
Yeah, I
what
like
you're
that a
doing
lot.
there, but yeah, yeah, Ben's super into that. Yeah, these scratches feel off scale. Like it's fine how thin they are, but how micro they are, it's like it just feels like they're too frequent near each other. I guess is the way to, like, you would expect them to be more broad because of the scale of the object.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, there's 3 dead pixels. What?
No way.
Wait, what is? Oh no, Polygon had 3 dead pixels on his Game Boy. I was like, no way, dude. No, everything's fine. And I like the render here with all the different colors. So you can redeem yourself. You could do a pile of Game Boys instead of M&Ms. And
Yeah, I
then,
might.
you know,
There's this one guy. Like I'm sorry for him if he's in chat and I forgot his name, but he made a Game Boy Advance or
mhm.
even a PSP and scattered this all over, and he somehow managed to really get this height grip that every little Game Boy piece itself on the sphere really has its like that what I missed on my M&Ms did on a like dead ass complex shape, and it nailed it. So I was afraid to try it out myself and not be as successful.
Dude, yeah, I mean, you gotta go for gold. That's how you turn it up. You just go for it and see what happens. There was
Yeah.
another one. I wanted to look at this paint one.
Oh yeah, this was actually like so fucking much work. But I actually like I felt this was so hard to do and so unnecessary at the same time that I hope that somehow people acknowledge this work, and looking at like the likes and the views, it was like a piece that's rated lower, and I felt like damn, I wasted so much time on something only I like.
I mean, I
And
don't even know how you did it.
um
Like, I don't even know how I'd begin to even approach this.
well,
Because I'm
um,
looking at it and I'm thinking about the nodes and I'm just like, what
yeah.
a.
I can't even explain that good. Like it's split in um 4 or 5 subgraphs. So I got the canvas, I got
Mhm.
the paint plots, the I don't know how this palette is like where the color is on is named.
Yeah,
And I got the
so you
tube.
have like, so you have the pool of color, and
Yeah,
then
exactly.
the smudged version under it.
Yeah.
Those are 2 separate elements.
Yeah, like the whole material is actually 5 different ones that I somehow made to blend in without exploding.
Yeah, without
Um,
exploding. Yeah, I mean, it is really cool because there's just like, especially in this render here, it's very it's just very intriguing to see, and you're like, how the heck is that? Like, what am I? How?
well, I gotta admit, the painting actually below that is from Bob Ross. Like, I felt after doing all this work, I do not need to somehow get a picture done myself. So I just pasted something I found on Google.
Oh man, dude, that's. I mean, I think that's totally fine, especially the way you've applied that painting to the pattern, the canvas.
Yeah.
Like, it really, I think it really sells it. And dude, it's like this angle here. It's almost like people wouldn't know that you did that. That you did that in Substance Designer.
Yeah.
I noticed the thumbnail is a very different. Oh, it's just that top image. Okay, because I'm looking at this one. This one's more colorful, and I wonder if this image would be, or like more vibrant. I wonder if this would be
Yeah.
better as your thumbnail.
Oh, yeah, might be. I don't know. I remember that I couldn't decide which
Yeah.
one to take, actually. And I had like, I don't know, a handful of more renders.
Mm.
Um, but eventually, like, making all the post process over and over.
You're like, okay, I'm done. I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah, just take one and it's probably going to be okay.
I mean, I
But
think
yeah.
if you want to push yourself,
Yeah.
you now need to like start thinking about the other elements that are involved with the material. Taking the advice that Ben had suggested with like removing the curvature and the ambient occlusion from your albedo. Really understanding your roughness more. But I mean, it's weird because I look at this one and I'm like, okay, I think you know what you're doing, and it's just a matter of like pushing your materials further because you have an eye for the detail and you understand how stuff's put together. And maybe it's just the way that your maps are reading. See, like this,
Yeah.
the cracks in this one, like I feel like those cracks, they don't have a like they connect in ways where it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And I mean, I
I
guess
gotta
you
admit, I
just need an
suck at
offset
rocks.
node, right? To just like offset the. I say
Yeah.
offset node. It's not called that, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm
Just to
actually
offset those
trying to
cracks.
use that a lot. Like I feel like for rocks, that's the most part um where I had for references and feedback and actually learning stuff from people who like. I think I've watched this rock creation techniques from um Daniel Tiger like a million times, and I still feel like we're doing the same stuff, but he makes it look good, and I somehow don't manage to do it.
Mm.
Uh, yeah, it's I don't know. Like rocks don't really suit me. I don't know.
I
When it comes to cracks, I just fell off.
so your maps feel very strange to me, and I think
Yeah.
the number one map to work on from these is probably your roughness. Like there's still a lot you can do in your ambient occlusion as far as like what is catching that ambient occlusion, and then there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of lighting information in your albedo.
Mm-hmm.
There are the approaches with the cracks and like addressing how you're integrating those in the material, but your roughness, so far I haven't seen roughness that feels, hang on, let me look around here, roughness that feels accurate. Like this, the roughness here feels accurate, just because the materials don't really change all that much between each other.
Yeah.
But like where's the, oh man, I'm becoming blind to the materials. So like this one, for example, that the roughness isn't how you would author roughness, or like how roughness behaves for the material.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think, let's see in the Game Boy. Does the Game Boy have a roughness view? It does. No, does it? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm only getting the edge of it, I think.
Yeah.
Um, I think in this type of presentation, if you can find a way to show more of the roughness, that'll help.
Yeah, of course.
Because the Game Boy, I think, is a little bit more accurate when it comes to your roughness values. It's just a little bit of the stretching in the D-pad. But dude, I mean, you have tons of materials, and I think we've highlighted enough things that you can work on.
Yeah, definitely.
But I would love to see more of this stuff.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, this flowery meadow stuff is just really intriguing looking, and the way it's scattered feels quite natural. So there's a ton of stuff in here, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, do you have a last question before I jump out of here?
Yeah, I got one, and it's again about, like I said before, that I wanted to get sick in materials and just like that's the path I want to go. And like recently, I figured like foliage is really awesome in the studio and production. I'm doing a lot of environment stuff and foliage as well. I'm doing a lot of shader stuff, and like everything just catches my interest, and I feel like
Mhm.
I'm going overhead myself, learning everything, or better sticking to materials, since that's somehow where I would say I'm at least decent at. So, what would you say for like a career advice? Should I specialize in this as it got potential, or should I like try to diversify as much as I can?
Um, I mean, you're already in the industry, so I would suggest doing what you enjoy doing. If it's fun to do, let's say, materials, push materials and get better at materials. If you find something else fun, it's totally okay to step away from materials and work on that other thing. It does slow down your progress towards materials. So if you feel like you want to dedicate more time, then just dedicate more time to your materials. But I hesitate to tell you to specialize when you should just do what's fun to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but okay, but from I mean, you're working at Ubisoft, and this is
Mm-hmm.
somehow like I would consider this on a skill level a lot higher than what I'm doing or where I'm working at. Just like natural, like if you heard Ubisoft or
Mm-hmm.
anything like that, it's like, oh damn,
I
those
mean,
guys are sick, you
if
know?
you go down that route, then it is about specializing. If you
Okay,
want like deep AAA, I would say pick a path and get so good at it that people can't ignore you. You get so good at that specific thing that you have to ignore people trying to get you to work for them.
okay, I see.
So if you really like materials, just dive in, man. Just go for it.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I imagined you're gonna say something like that, and
Yeah.
a tiny bit of me wished for the other answer, but I guess you're right. Like,
But dude, the thing is though, is there isn't really a right answer to it. Like you can do everything if you want. You can get good at everything. It just takes longer, right? You
yeah,
could
that's
dive
true.
in, say you like dive into materials for a year and just go freaking crazy. Yeah, yeah, Zoltan's perfect. You have tons of years in your life. Do a year of just material grinding, get your materials to this like god tier level, and then you get this job being a material artist and doing like these crazy materials, and then your free time you go back to like doing whatever you like. Like if you
Yeah,
want to
it's
do
true.
foliage stuff, like you can grind on materials, and then when you want to take a break from that, you just work on foliage, and then you come back to it, and yeah. So there isn't really a right answer. More so a trying to manage your own time and enjoy the ride.
Yeah, that's probably the best approach.
Yeah, and Zoltan's this is another. Any art is going to help you. That's perfect advice. And the other one that's super real. Workflows change every 6 months. Train your eyes however
Oh
you
yeah.
want. Like
Yeah, man.
you get a good eye, and it does not matter how the workflows change. Your eye is still good. The only thing you have to worry about is becoming blind. So don't do
Yeah,
anything to
that's
make
it.
yourself blind.
Like staring at the screen for 8 hours a day.
Well, maybe that's your pastime is going outside, or not looking at a monitor. But hopefully that helps.
Yeah,
I don't
sure,
know.
sure.
Yeah,
No, no, it really does. Like, sometimes it's just another person who can like at least somehow figure that for you and yeah, says it to you.
yeah. But dude, it's a crazy portfolio.
Thanks.
And yeah, if you have any other questions, just poke me.
Yeah,
And
sure.
I appreciate you sharing your portfolio and coming on for a call. These calls are
Yeah, man.
way more interesting than just doing a review.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for your time
You
as
get
well,
more
man.
perspective. So no problem, man. But all right, cool. I guess we'll get out of here.
Yeah, sure, will do. Have a nice evening, man.
Yeah, you too. I'll talk to you later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.